guys, so it's been a while since I posted. Sorry about that. I was debating doing every week a post, but then as the weeks kind of went by, I realized that I'd probably be posting the same thing. So I figured I would do it by phase. But for just a side note, for all of my followers that have been emailing me, that have been commenting, I love you all. Thank you guys so much for all of your support. Anybody who's going through this, I hope these videos have been helping. But thank you for all of your sweet emails and the comments, and everyone that's going through this, good luck. I'm right there with you. I know it's not easy, but we can do this. We got this. So I love you guys, and you guys are the reason that I'm going to keep doing these. And like I said, I did get a few requests, so I'm going to try and work on them this week. No guarantees, but I will do my best for you. So any other requests, just let me know. To start off basic in the Army, you start off your basic in red phase. Red phase is, as the Army describes it, your breakdown phase. This is where they're going to emotionally, mentally, physically break you down and prepare to rebuild you up in white and blue phase into a soldier. Red phase can be a very difficult time for your soldier in training, just because they're going through a lot, and this is really the breakdown for them. So, where to begin? First of all, red phase is the first 3 weeks. That's a lie. Red phase is really the first 4 weeks. This weekend, I went to a Broadway show with my family and was literally sitting there like with the phone in my face, not even paying attention, because I was so paranoid that my husband was going to call and I was going to miss the call, and how horrible would that be, ready to pounce over these people to get out of the aisle to be able to answer his call. Come to find out that I was doing the math all wrong. Your first phone call, as long as his whole platoon or her whole platoon phases up together, they have to phase up together, which means if they have a jerk off in their platoon that's screwing around, or a couple of them, and they aren't doing what they're supposed to, they're not phasing up, you might not get your first phone call. You might have to wait an additional week. It all depends on everybody in the platoon. So it's not just your soldier, it's them as a team. The first 3 weeks are big team building exercises that they do, but I'll get into that. So for your first phone call, basically what's going to happen is, first week, they usually start on a Tuesday. So your first week is called Shark Week, and that's Tuesday to that Sunday. It's those 5 days, 4 days. I can't count. It's those couple of days, and that's called Shark Week, I believe. And that's basically going to be a lot more paperwork, a lot of in-classroom work. Depending on the drill sergeant, they'll be able to send you home letters that week with their address, or they possibly have to wait for the following week to even write you guys. That will depend on them getting accustomed to the whole starting basic and their drill sergeants. I know for me personally, and I know all of the other spouses that I have talked to in regards to getting their first letters, it took at least a week, sometimes 2, from when they actually started basic to get that first letter. Once you get your first letters, then they start coming in a little bit better. Like I got my first, the next day I got one, then 2 days later I got another, and now they're kind of like either every day or every other day I get one. So you have to give it that week, sometimes 2 weeks, to kind of, they have to be able to write, their drill sergeants have to be able to, give them the privilege to mail you the letter. If you're anything like me, it's going to drive you insane. I didn't have the address. I was losing my mind. I was stalking every single Facebook page I could find just to find out if my husband was okay, what was going on, where he was, and all of that information. So you could do it my way and drive yourself insane, or you could hold on and wait for your spouse to send you the letter. They will send it. So incoming mail, give it a week or 2. Outgoing mail to them. We are now on week This is the beginning of week 4 of basic. My husband just this week started receiving my letters. I know 6 other spouses that I have spoken to personally said it took them at least 3, if not into their 4th week, to get their letters from you. Processing from mail going to a soldier is very different than coming home to you. So if you get letters in the beginning discouraged, like, I want to quit, you're not writing me, you gave up on me, what happened, I thought you know, whatever. Just know that by the time you got that letter, that they're all pissed off at you and they think that you don't care. They probably got your letters the next day or the day after that. That's just how it goes. And like I said, that's how my experience has been with every other military spouse that I've spoken to. Your spouse will, or your soldier will get the letters. You have to give it some time. I know when it gets there, it has to go like through a bunch of different, so it's like the mailman gives it to the base. Then the base has to give it to different commanders, and the different commanders have to get it to basic, and then basic has to go through each unit, and then the units have to drop it to the platoons, and then the platoons have to get the privilege of getting their mail. So it takes a little while of them to get in the hang of it. Also because as soon as your soldier started, another group was just finishing, probably in a similar unit. So mail in the beginning can get mixed up. It will get to them though. Don't worry, it will get to them. You're going to get discouraged letters. You're going to get sad letters. You're going to get upset letters. You're going to get hard letters to read. They get better though. Trust and believe. They get better. Have a little faith in your soldier. Easier said than done. Trust me, I know. So that's kind of mail. It does take a little while, but then once you guys get into the flow of things by your 3rd week, basically was us last week, it goes a lot smoother from there. Not that you can wait around to respond to their letters, so it's a little bit funny. It's like you're not really writing to each other back and forth like if you were texting. So like by the time my husband asks me something, I'm already on like 4 subjects later and then respond to him. You get the idea, if I'm not making sense. But just keep writing. I write at least 1, sometimes 2, sometimes 3 letters a day, depends on my mood. I keep them upbeat, I keep them positive, I keep them encouraging, I keep them full of love, full of why he chose to do this, and just reminding him that it's going to be okay. But in the beginning, like I said, it's going to be difficult. It does get better. That was way off track. So back to the phone call. So first week is, I think, called Shark Week. Basically a lot of schoolwork or classroom work. From there, then they actually start basic. I mean, they're in basic, but like then they start with all the training exercises. Their first week training exercises are going to be team exercises. And that's when they're going to get to know each other, see how they work as a team, that kind of stuff. Then you're going to jump into all 3 weeks, I believe, are team exercises. The gas chambers, 2nd week. Just FYI, does come the 2nd week for your soldier in training. Then the 3rd week, which is actually the 4th week, if you're counting like I am, and being a super freak and have like a countdown. Then the 4th week is where they have to pass a team building exercise in order to phase up. As long as they pass that, complete that, do all together, okay, then they phase up. If they phase up, they will get a phone call. It will be from the day he starts basic on a Tuesday. Count 4 Sundays, not 3. So his 4th Sunday, he'll get a phone call. The phone call can be any time of the day. It can be any amount of minutes. It can be, I've heard of soldiers getting an hour phone call at, 7 a.m. I've heard of soldiers getting a 10-minute phone call at noon. I've also heard of soldiers getting phone calls that were supposed to be an hour, but then somebody goofed off and ended up getting a 5-minute phone call. It can really depend. Your first phone call is going to be very important though. So If you're a military spouse, you will learn the lingo. During the week, you stalk your mailman. During Sunday, you stalk your cell phone. You're waiting for that information. Me and my mailman have become very, very close friends. And I actually gave him a box of chocolates when he brought my first letter. So, UPS. Anyway, that's kind of what you're going to expect. So expect the bad letters. They do get better. It gets easier. White phase is a little bit more lenient, I believe. When we get there, I'll let you know. But remember, your phone call will be your fourth Sunday, as long as they phase up. The only way you'll find that out is, one, through their Facebook page, if their drill sergeants update their Facebook page that often. My husband's drill sergeant updates once a week, so I can't really get much off of there. Also, basically by your husband. So right now I'm not sure if he's getting a phone call yet. It's still early in the week, but my fingers are crossed, and we're just going to do our best and hope for the best. I mean, what choice do you have? What the hell? So that's basically red phase. They're going to do a lot of teamwork building exercises. It's basically the hell phase, I guess you could call it. It's the toughest phase. I've heard that once they get into the other phases, they'll have less drill sergeants screaming in their face all the time, and it gets a little bit, not laid back or lenient, but it gets a little bit easier for them. Plus, they'll be more accustomed to the rules and what is expected of them. Also, a little side note, if you didn't watch my other videos and you didn't send your spouse with envelopes or stamps, it could take a little bit longer because they have to get to the PX to buy those things. So that's very important. Make sure you send pre-addressed envelopes with stamps, even if it's just 5 to start them off with. They do have to get to the PX to buy that stuff, which could then prolong your process of getting a letter even longer. Also, like I said before, no care packages. One of the spouses that I was talking to had sent candy to her fiance or her husband, I believe. Not a good idea. Don't do it. Letters. You can send pictures. Don't be doodling on your envelopes. Don't be kissing on your envelopes. Do what you want in the letters. Like I said, appropriate pictures. They do check them. So I know you can go over lists of contraband and what's accepted and what's not. Also, in red phase, they will be getting their weapon. So that was pretty neat. My husband was telling me all about the weapon that he got. Not that I understand any of it. But yeah, also the lingo. They're going to start abbreviating certain things, like SIT is soldier in training, DS is drill sergeant. Get to know that lingo, because otherwise you will be reading these letters like they're in a different language. I've had to do my fair share of asking questions because you will be confused. At least in the beginning. Now I feel like I'm an expert at this. But that's just an FYI side note. I don't know. For me, red phase has been difficult because you go from reception, getting a few phone calls, talking to them here and there, to nothing for almost 2 weeks. Once the letters came in, they started helping a little bit. It makes you feel a little bit better. Everybody's experience is different. So if you get a letter the second day of basic, I don't want to hear it. This is just my experience and some of the wives and spouses that I've spoken to experience. We also are further distance from each other than some of you may be from your soldier in training. So, as far as where I live compared to his basic training, we're a further distance than some of you may be. So it also depends on mail. It also depends on, I'm not even going to go there, but it depends on a lot of different stuff if you're going to get your letters, to say the least. Anyway, red phase is hard. I know everyone's probably going to tell you, oh, it gets easier with time and it'll get better and yada, yada, yada. I feel like that's a bunch of crap. I feel like, yes, I can handle it better. No, I don't cry every single day. But it's still hard not having him here every day. Or like today, for instance, it's St. Patrick's Day and I'm making my corned beef and cabbage, and my husband loves my cooking. I love to cook. Big Italian family, you know, I love to cook, and he's not here to enjoy it with us. So that kind of stinks. He's gonna miss Easter. That all kind of stinks, and I feel like, okay, maybe in the big spectrum it gets a little bit easier, but in the small spectrum of like watching our favorite shows, like I don't even like watching The Walking Dead no more because my husband's not here to goof around with me and watch it with me and talk about it. So it makes some stuff very depressing. But other stuff, I mean, the days are getting a little bit better. You start getting into a routine of how to handle stuff on your own or with your battle buddy back home or your family or your friends or whatever. So I'm not going to say it's completely difficult like it was the first week, and I don't think I stopped crying the whole first week. But I definitely still have my moments. I still have my breakdowns. At the end of the day, whether that's your child, whether that's your spouse, whether that's your parent, whether that's your boyfriend, fiance, girlfriend, whoever that is, that person means something to you. And it's going to be a change for everybody for them to be gone. So at the end of the day, as much as people say it's going to get easier, yes, it does get easier. Yes, you do get into a kind of a routine without them here. And you find ways to make it work. You have to. Life keeps going. So you have to figure it out. But it still sucks. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about my husband. There's not a minute that goes by that I'm not missing having him here with me. There's probably not a day that's gone by that I haven't cursed him off because I'm just pissed that he's not here. But you're going to go through those mixed emotions. It's part of the ride. But at the end of the day, I am so proud of him. I can't even begin to explain how proud of him I am. For doing what he's doing, for making his dreams come true, for making our family's future better, for just being a soldier. It's not easy to join the military. Whatever branch you join, it's a very real decision. You're not only just joining the military, you're risking your lives for so many people, and so many people that don't appreciate it. And that really makes me sick. But being in the military is just such a noble and honorable thing, and I'm so beyond proud. I mean, I can't even begin to explain at the end of the day how proud of him I am. So that's what gives me the strength to know that he's doing the right thing, and I'm going to support him no matter what. I don't care what comes our way. I don't care who comes our way. I don't care what is thrown at us at this point. Right now, I'm his wife. I'm his best friend. I'm his rock. I'm his soldier while he's training to be a real soldier. So remember that. You know, it's hard. It's never going to be easier. It's never going to be a walk in the park to get through this. And if it is, you need to reevaluate your relationship. But to be a military spouse, you have to have the backbone to do this. So if you cannot handle this or become accustomed to it or find the strength in yourself to get through this with your spouse, now's the time to really look at yourself and look in the mirror and say, what are we doing? Because this is the beginning of a very long journey. So my advice, my personal advice, I am not a therapist. I am not anything. I'm giving you my personal experience, my personal preference, my personal thoughts, if you want to call it that. I know that I have the strength to get through anything with my husband and that we will be okay. And I know that this is just another experience. This is just another journey that we are taking together. But if you can't handle this, there's only harder times to come. So like I said in one of my other videos, you kind of signed up too. You have to be able to handle this. And depression and anxiety and all of that is a very real thing in the military. So be real with yourself. Be real with your spouse. And talk about these things before they go. It's a real thing. So sorry if you don't like what I gotta say, but it's a very real thing. And the military life is a very hard thing to be a part of. But with that said, me and my husband made this decision together. This is what he has dreamed of for a very long time. And when I married him, we agreed to support each other. So I'm supporting him, and I love him more and more each day that passes. You definitely become like little pen pals, and you kind of rekindle any problems that maybe you had before they left. You kind of like get to start fresh in your relationship, and you get this distance that just makes you appreciate each other so much more. And it can bring you a lot closer if you use this time wisely for yourself and for your relationship. But be supportive. Whatever you're doing, be supportive. So that's my thought on red phase. Red phase is difficult. It's no walk in the park. It is getting a little bit easier as the time goes. You get more accustomed to it. But to each his own. I mean, nobody's going to handle it like I do, and I'm not going to handle it like you do. So this is just my opinion. You got to kind of live through it to see if it's for you. On that note, we are fingers crossed for my husband to call this Sunday. The girls are doing very well. Today's St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day with my green eyeshadow. But anyway, just know if you're watching this that we're still on our journey, and I didn't forget about all of you. I'm still trying, so hopefully I'll have another video up for you guys soon. And like I said, any requests that you have, let me know. But this is typically red phase. They are going to have drill sergeants in their face screaming all the time. They're going to have, it's going to be hard. But nobody said the military was easy. So good luck, everybody, and I will talk to you all soon. All right? Bye, guys.